Yeah. So, probably going to see this before the footage I'll be talking about. Ah, that's okay. That's fine. Because, yeah. Season 9 of Star Trek Online debuted today, and, with it came a continuation of the story arc they began in A Step Between Stars. Um, this is in and of itself a continuation of the main story plot, basically resolving the Undine crisis a little bit, not really that much. Not completely resolving it, but moving it forward. Let's say that. If you have played this mission, you can probably already tell why I had a problem with this mission, and if you have played it already, and you can probably tell what my problem is by just the picture in the video. So, as a warning to anybody watching this who has not played Surface Tension, stop watching. Because I'm about to spoil the shit out of Surface Tension. I think I'm gonna start. I'm gonna take it from the top. We're gonna start from the top. So when you begin this mission, this is one of the really cool. This is a cool bit. Is it has a FMV, which isn't done in this game at like ever, which they really should do. They really should do more FMV because they love to render their cutscenes in engine constantly, and the engine this game runs on is very janky. So much of the time their cutscenes don't work quite right. So FMVs would be more like using FMVs would be a lot more welcome than like their in-engine stuff because the engine is ancient and it's a jank. So there's an in-engine cutscene basically recapping the plot of the game thus far. Like not the entire plot, but the highlights of the story arc that the game has had since it launched. And it's a good cutscene. It's really good. It's really well made. Um, the editing is really good. It's it feels like the beginning of season recap of a very heavily serialized show, and that's a good thing. That's really cool. The problem I had with it was towards the end of that cutscene. This is the one complaint I have about that cutscene, not the mission, because I got more complaints about the mission. But like the one complaint I have about that cutscene, and I'm sorry if my sound is going in and out. This um, this headset, it doesn't have particularly long for it. I've had it for years, and it's my go-to headset for when the other like I have a headset that breaks, and this one's starting to give up on me a little. So I'm sorry if I go in and out. Um, but yeah, it's going in and out like crazy. But at the very end of that cutscene, it updates the game's date. We are no longer in 2409. We are in 2410. 4 years later. Ugh. You would think they would at least update it to 2412. or 2413. It's been 4 years. It's been 4 friggin' years. You're telling me that the player character has gone from cadet to vice admiral in a year? Yeah. No. Bullshit. 2410. But that's big. That's major. The year is changed. The year is different. I don't know, considering the way your character behaves in this mission, maybe they were a cadet just a year ago, Your character is not very bright in this mission. So the mission starts with the summit that they were calling. The summit that they were calling, which at the end of not a step between stars, but at the end of whatever the last mission was. I forgot what it was. The one where they reintroduced Tim Russ, where they introduced Tim Russ and reintroduced Tuvok, and you were like investigating this like facility. I forget its name. But at the very end of it, like the Undine were back as a threat, and there was this big like claim over the Janolan Dyson sphere that was discovered in the TNG episode Relics, and so the Tuvok was like, okay, I'm calling a summit. I'm gonna hold a peace summit to discuss our next move and like who has control of what, and like reevaluate the galactic situation and try and bring an end to like these rivalries that are dividing us. So the mission begins with the summit, and the summit, for being like the setup for the entire previous mission, basically being a setup for this summit. This summit is actually shockingly inconsequential in this mission. Like, it's about 5 minutes if you take your time, If you're not in a rush, it's about 5 minutes. And it literally consists of mostly busy work. In fact, it consists entirely of busy work and one very short cutscene. It is literally the very beginning of this mission, and most of that cutscene is taken up by a Ferengi, being a Ferengi, being a corrupt businessman, as opposed to the more interesting galactic developments that are supposed to be taking place at this. Like, it's this Ferengi making the most preposterous pitch to like the powers assembled here that you could possibly imagine. Like the most ridiculous, asinine, proposal you could imagine to like all the people gathered here. I'm surprised they didn't add heckling into the in the background to this guy. The moment before he can even finish though, and he takes a while. Before he can finish annoying you though, he's cut off by these alarms that ring, and it turns out all of the galactic powers are under attack by the Undine. That was the big thing, is like the Undine are once again a threat in like the previous mission. So we are going to figure this out. We're gonna like hold a summit to deal about what we're gonna do to deal with the Undine finally. So the Undine are attacking Earth, and this bit is well done. They reintroduced the Sol System with this bit, and basically, Sol System is now the title screen. Like whenever you log into Star Trek Online nowadays, there's like this title screen of like of a planet of Earth, basically, and when you log in, like the screen pans upward from Earth, and like your character appears and like such. and you like select your characters. That title screen is now Earth. It is now Sol System. And when you arrive, Earth Space Dock is messed up. It is getting the crap blown out of it by this Undine fleet. So there's this really large scale uphill fight through like all this debris, like through all these Undine ships and all this debris to Earth Space Dock. And this was actually a pretty cool fight. It is a bit of a clusterfuck because there's just so much happening at once. So it's going to slow down most PCs a bit in this fight. Like mid to low end PCs are not going to have a good time in this fight. I was getting a lot of chugging because the engine is ancient and my computer is not quite up to date as much as it used to be. So yeah, it was still pretty fun. There is a point there are like Federation ships you can assist. You can like beam. I don't know what you're doing. Like maybe beaming over repair parts or whatever. But you can assist them and they'll join you in fending off the Undine. There's actually a wing of Galaxy-class ships in there you can get. And 3 Galaxy-class ships kind of cut through the Undine like they weren't even there. It was actually kind of badass to watch. Where you have the Waglinde and a few other Galaxy-class ships basically just flying through the Undine, wrecking their shit. Just fucking, like, unstoppable. Just like 3 Galaxy-class starships surrounded by support craft and just completely fucking unstoppable. Right up until the end where the Tethys... They throw a lot of Tethys at you in this mission. And, like, a Tethys, like, shows up above Earth Space Dock, and there's, like, this big... starship brawl. Like the fight gets even crazier because you have like Klingon and Romulan reinforcements showing up to like fight off the Undine fleet attacking Earth Space Dock. So there's like this big crazy fight over it, and I chugged like crazy throughout. But it was fun. That, like, the mission so far is fun. It's a good mission. Then you beam to Earth Space Dock, and this is where, like, things start taking a turn for the weird. And I'm not saying that the Earth Space Dock sections are bad. They're not. It's actually quite cool and really atmospheric. I am a very, very, very big fan of when any kind of production not only is taking a risk narratively, like this mission takes big risks. Surface tension changes basically everything. It's a big in a TV series. This would be an almost untenable risk to take to upset the status quo as much as surface tension does, and that's a very good thing. It shows that they're not afraid of being creative. It shows that they're not afraid of taking the narrative in a new direction. It was really, really cool. The story they're telling is really good. And Earth Space Dock was really well done. It was really atmospheric. And like I said, the reason I said what I just said is because I am a very big fan of when they are not only when a creative team is not only taking risks, but are willing to trash the set to do it. Let's throw a party, you know? Like, we've got a new, like, we are changing so much. Let's have a new set, because there's a new Earth Space Dock now. There's a new Earth Space Dock look. So I was like, let's trash the set. Let's blow up Earth Space Dock. And that's exactly what they do. They don't blow it all up, but they blow the shit out of it. Like, the Earth Space Dock that we all know, that we have all known since launch, no longer is. The interior layout we have all known since launch is no longer. Like, you beam down to Earth space dock, and it's the interior. It's the interior that it's been since launched, and it's had the shit blown out of it. There's chunks of it missing. There's chunks exposed to space. It's burning. It's filled with security officers fighting corridor to corridor against Undine. It's fucking ridiculous. It's awesome. It's awesome. I love it when any kind of production is like, when any kind of production is willing to completely trash the set. You know? I love that shit. I loved it when Andromeda did it. Like the season, like first season finale of Andromeda, they blew up the fucking sets. They ripped the sets apart. It was great. You know? Trash the fucking set. Build something cooler. And that's exactly what they did. It was that's fantastic. Here's the problem I had with it. Why do I have bridge officers if I can never use them? This is a problem that a lot of people are probably going to have with this mission. Especially this part of this mission. Earth space dock is overrun by Undine. Everybody's dead, Dave. You're up against an army of Undine in this mission, and they're literally, coming at you like fucking xenomorphs. They're coming at you out of the goddamn walls. I'm not even joking. They're, skittering across the ceiling at you. They're coming out of the fucking walls. Where is my team? Where is my away team? Where's my medic that I have? You know, my dedicated healing, buff. You know, where's Chal? He'd love it again. He'd love going up against the Undine. You know, where's 8? She was a Borg. The Undine, she'd probably beat the shit out of the Undine now. You know, she's not a Borg anymore, but she probably doesn't like the friggin' Undine. You know, where's why can't I bring, Doppler? Because he's a hologram. Go ahead and try your psionic shit on a hologram, you know? Where is my team? Where's my guys? You know? Where's the guys I've been rolling with for the entire game? Why can't I bring them with me here? You know? Why can't I beam in reinforcements? Like in Cutting the Cord, where you can, beam in reinforcements at certain points and have, security teams fight alongside you. Why can't I do that? Why am I completely without backup in a war zone? You're supposed to be a flag officer. Where's the rest of my team? Why do I have boffs? You know, if you're not going to let me use them in the story that's supposed to be the player's story. It's ridiculous. It was stupid in the previous mission. It's even dumber here. You beamed to this research facility to rescue Tuvok alone in the previous mission. Alone. Okay. Why? No idea. So yeah, you beam in alone. It's stupid. You do rescue a lieutenant on a Cation lieutenant on Earth space dock. He proceeds to hang back and do nothing. Just a couple rooms later. Could have used you, man, you know? So you get to the end, you the entire this entire part of the mission revolves around finding Admiral Quinn. And they do actually troll the player a little bit, because one of the biggest conspiracy theories about Star Trek Online is Admiral Quinn is an Undine. So you stumble across Admiral Quinn, the first time you stumble across Admiral Quinn, it's an Undine impersonating Admiral Quinn. It was funny. You stumble onto Admiral Quinn, and he's an Undine. You know, he's not the Admiral Quinn. You fight him. You move on. You rescue a random Starfleet officer in the corner. It's good. It's funny. You eventually stumble upon the real Admiral Quinn, and he's like wounded, and they really seem to have. So there was this there was like this sort of like a long time ago. This was a long time ago, actually. Yeah, there was like this kind of like fantasy casting thing going on about like who should play who, and one of the biggest, one of the most welcome things, one of the things that people wanted the most was like, or would have loved the most was if Bruce Boxleitner was the voice of Admiral Quinn. Like if one day Admiral Quinn suddenly spoke and it was Bruce Boxleitner's voice. And for those of you who don't know who Bruce Boxleitner is, Bruce Boxleitner is Tron, and also Captain Sheridan from Babylon 5. Really awesome voice, like really awesome, like deep timbre voice. People will be like, who couldn't get behind that? You know, who couldn't get behind Bruce Boxleitner as Admiral Quinn? Bruce Boxleitner is not Admiral Quinn, but Admiral Quinn, when he does speak, he's kind of Bruce Boxleitner light. You know? It's kind of like the person voicing him is trying to get as close as he can, and he really can't get close at all. But I'll take what I can get. He's Bruce Boxleitner to me, damn it. But so you find Quinn, and shock of all shocks, Egg. Like the big-headed guy who you do the Memory Alpha quest for, like Egan, turns out to be an Undine. So you fight Egan, and here's where the no boffs problem really shines, because Egan is annoying. Like Egan loves to set the entire room on fire. You know? He loves setting the room on fire. He's got like geophysicist or something, and he'll just like starts throwing fire everywhere. And you can like roll and dodge all you want. It's really not going to help you. You know, he's still hitting you with this shit. So yeah, like fucking Egan is such a pain in the ass. Like if you had any boffs with you, he would be less of a pain in the ass. But you don't, for reasons that are completely inexplicably, nobody has gone with you, to, protect the flag officer. So you're fighting Egan basically in a solo duel. Tuvok is with you. He's annoying Egan. He's not really doing anything. He's just kind of like peppering Egan with his dinky assault rifle. It's you versus Egan. So you beat Egan. And, you talk to Quinn. And then, Cooper from the previous mission. Still can't remember what it was called. Cooper. Like the Undine Infiltrator. By the way, spoilers if you've never played that mission. He shows up, and he basically, mind bombs Tuvok just to stroke his mustache. Like, he literally just sort of, telepathically links up with Tuvok just to stroke his mustache at him. This backfires as mustache stroking always does, because while he's doing that, Tuvok is reading his mind, and he finds out that, when he finally snaps out of his, trance, he comes to and he tells them the attack on Earth Space Dock is just a distraction. The real attack is at Kronos. The real attack is against the Klingons. The Klingons, by the way, have been throughout the entirety of this mission. Almost every Klingon character is the most smug, motherfucker in the universe. But special mention goes to Korin. Korin is the captain of the Bortosk. Corrin is the captain of the Bortosk who can never pronounce her own goddamn ship's name right. She always calls it the Bortesque. She can say Kameku, which means like replacers of honor with dishonor, because Klingon language is fucked. And like, so like she constantly calls it the Bortesque. The Bortesque! The good ship Bortesque! You know? Like, it's the Bortosk. That's how it's pronounced. Bortosk. Bortosk. It's not a hard name to pronounce at all. It's not difficult in the slightest. She calls it the Bortesque. She is the most intolerably smug asshole throughout this entire mission. And I refuse to take crap from somebody who can't even pronounce the name of their own goddamn ship. So you go to Kronos. She immediately, you and Voyager, because Tuvok's in command of Voyager. For some reason it still exists. You fly to Kronos to assist the Klingons in defense. Of course, Corrin bitches the entire way there. You know, at first, like, she complains nonstop through this mission. She is the most whiny motherfucker. She is the most smug, whiny git in the galaxy in this mission. It got to a point where I was literally just sort of like shaking my head during the entire battle for Kronos going, oh, shut up. So what happens is eventually reinforcements arrive, and once again you have this giant clusterfuck space battle that will probably destroy lower-end PCs. Like, it'll chug like crazy. It's fun, but it's so jank. And they call in their planet killers, and their planet killers... Like, these are literally like the friggin' planet killers from Babylon 5, almost. They're not like a giant cloud of mist. They're like the planet killers if, like, the big cloud wasn't there. If you ever saw, like, a Call to Arms, the Crusade movie, or the prequel to Crusade, it was a movie called Babylon 5, A Call to Arms, so they flew inside, like, one of the Shadow's, like, planet killer clouds. And what the planet killer clouds were they were this, like, they were like these ships. They were like these clouds. They would envelop a planet, and the cloud was full of like these nodes. And these nodes would basically just like nuke the surface. It would carpet nuke the entire surface of the planet. And that's how they killed the planet. So that's what it looks like minus the cloud. Literally. Literally. It looks exactly like that. So, by the way, watch A Call to Arms if you haven't. It's a good movie. So, the planet killer shows up, and nobody has anything that can stop it. Voyager inexplicably still has, like, one of its, like, nanite torpedoes from, like, literally from during the series. Like, they still have one of these things, and they fire it off. It does shit all. So... Sean gets the idea of, like, decoupling, like, the mini ship, like the mini Defiant that's, like, constantly docked at the rear end of the Enterprise. And he flies it in himself, because, of course, there's nobody else on the ship who can do this. You know? Like, the guy in command is, of course, the only person qualified to pull this off. There's nobody else who can fly it. There's nobody else qualified to do it. There's nobody else with faster reflexes who flies ships as their job who can do this. Excuse me. Like, what about the Cation tactical officer who gets all kinds of characterization in, like, the fiction in Star Trek Magazine, but never got a chance to shine in this game? What about her? That would have been cool. What about Winters? Fucking Winters has piloted a shuttlecraft on, like, secret missions in the Gamma Quadrant. You know, he's less expendable than Sean is. Sean's the captain of the fucking Enterprise. You know, Winters is his first officer. It's his job to do risky things, so Sean doesn't. You know, it's his job to, like, kick Sean back into the command chair and, like, take care of things personally. Sean does a Death Star trench run on the Planet Killer. That's exactly what it is. You fly and do covering fire for Sean. This is actually a cool sequence. It would have been cooler if the Undine ships weren't visibly nerfed, because you can see their life bars above all of them, and they all have like 1 HP left on all of the Undine ships that come to attack Sean. So your ship has like fire at will permanently like toggled on during this sequence. So you can tell how well this goes for the Undine. They get mauled. The Undine get fucking annihilated by your ship, like one by one. So like Sean Sean kamikazes the Planet Killer. He gets beamed off by the Voyager before it blows up in like the most bog standard like transporter scare. Like, you've seen this scene before where like the ship blows up and there's like this moment where like the person in command of like the ship that was trying to beam up asks the transporter room, like, is he here? Did we get him? And there's like this like moment of fake suspense where like the transporter captain is like, the transporter chief is like, for some reason hesitant to respond, and then the person like walks off the transporter pad. I would have actually have liked it better if Sean died, not because I don't like the character, but because that scene has been done so many times in so many different like franchises in the like that I'm looking for it to for the subversion. You know, I'm not really cheering for it to be played straight. I'm cheering for the subversion at this point. You know? Because up until this point, you know, they've blown up Earth's space dock. They've blown the shit out of Kronos. You know, it's like, okay, so things are up in the air, you know? We're officially throwing away the rules for the rule book for this one. Like you kill Egan, so you actually do kill a named character actually dies in this mission, you know? At least I think so. I don't think Egan is in the New Earth space dock. I'm not sure if he is or not. I haven't seen it. I didn't see him on Tribble. So, like, if he's not there, then yeah, you actually do kill a named character in this mission. Like, they actually did kill somebody off. So, like, you'd think like the rule book was being thrown out. No, he got beamed aboard. It's the same bog standard scene you've seen in like every science fiction ever. So after the Planet Killer is destroyed, the Undine retreat, and you beam down to Kronos and have a party. That's literally what happens. Like, there's like this big victory party where they basically sign a ceasefire between the Klingons and the Federation, and the Klingon War has officially had a bullet put in its head. Like, that is basically the entire point of like this like short sequence where you get to like talk to everybody and like drink and like dance with it, like dance with everybody, you know, and friggin' party down. Like, this is like the going away party for the Klingon War storyline. This is the devs telling you, okay, we're putting a bullet in the head of the Klingon War. It's gone. It's done. It's dead. We're moving on. Thank you. I can put up with Corrin being impossibly smug if it means the Klingon War is over. That's something I'm willing to live with. So you go and you talk to like all the various named characters gathered there. You can talk to Jim Puck, and what I was hoping would happen didn't happen. It would be silly if it did, but it would have been great. Like if Jim Puck, because Jim Puck's standing right there talking to like friggin', is he talking like Detan? I think he's talking to Detan. Is it either talking to Detan or Quinn? No, he's not talking to Quinn. But like, it would have been great if like Jim Puck had like walked up to the podium of Quinn and like ripped his mask off in front of everybody and went, "I am an Undine, rah, Zool, motherfucker," and like fucking Just like buried an Undine hand through like fucking Quinn's midsection. You know, it's like whoosh, and like fucking started annihilating people until he got like taken down. It would have been silly. It would have been cool. The moment I so wanted to end Jim Park. I didn't want to like talk to him. I was like going, and him, and him, and his shit, and his shit, and his shit. Didn't happen. Oh well. Um, um, so Jim Buck and Quinn go to walk up to the podium, and here's where it starts. I've been enjoying this. It's been buggy because they don't playtest their shit for shit, and it's been chugging, and the server's been overloading, so there's been server glitches, and the like really lengthy loading screens. But all in all, I've enjoyed this mission. It's been cool. The Klingon War is over. I'm happy. I'm a happy person. Corin can be as impossibly smug as she wants. I don't care. I don't care. And then it happens. So the Iconians have been using the Undine to drive all of these people apart and like put them at each other's throats for all this time. They've been using them to basically get everybody to shoot at each other until they're dead. And then the Undine come in and mop them up. And after the Undine have been weakened, the Iconians show up and mop them up. Or, like, after the Undine are done killing everybody, they go home, the Iconians show up and mop up. Either way, Iconians win. That's been their game. We know this. So, what's the dumbest possible thing the Iconians could do? Ugh. And here it begins. I made a lengthy vlog a long time ago talking about the way the Iconians should be handled, the way they absolutely will not be handled. And now I know that this is not what they're going to do. Like, the rule, like, it should have been, the rule should have been, Iconians show up, you lose. Flat out. An Iconian ship spots you, relays your coordinates to like a Iconian base. The Iconian base has a gateway. They gate to your engine room, punt a bomb through it, blow up your warp core, you lose. You know, they don't even have to shoot you. They just need to know where the Iconians don't even need to shoot at you. They just need to know where you are, and they can kill you. You know? And they can blow up your ship. Iconians arrive, you lose, is the way it should have been done. They shouldn't be, like, fightable. They shouldn't even be statted, you know? Because there's no way you can make these guys intimidating. They'll be trash mobs. And that's part of the reason why things like the reputation and trait system have been so heavily nerfed. Because everybody was flying Galactus. Everybody was going to be flying Galactus by the time the Iconians showed up. And the Iconians were going to be a joke. They'll be a joke anyways. But yeah. So that's what should have happened. Like, you should have never seen the Iconians. You should never see the monster. Like, you should never, like, if you've watched Alien, the only time you ever see the alien in its entirety, when it's not shrouded in shadow or like shot in like extreme close up, the only time you actually see it as it is, like the whole thing, is at the very end, and it's scary because Ripley's locked in like a small room with this thing, and it's right there, and like what's it gonna do? Like you can't tell. It's got no eyes. You know, like this thing has no eyes. You can't look into its eyes and tell what it's gonna do. You know, it's just like sitting there waiting for her. And it's freaky. You never show the monster if you want to keep the monster intimidating, if you want to keep the monster frightening. You never show the monster ever until the end. until the time is right. The time was not right. Because what happens? What happens is the Iconians show up at the very end. Or an Iconian. An Iconian shows up. Quinn and Jim Pock are in the middle of giving their like big speech. Excuse me. They're in the middle of giving their big speech, and their big end of war speech, and Undine, or not Undine, but like a gateway just appears in front of them, just opens up, and Gozer, the Gozerian, fucking walks out. And you think I'm joking. You think I'm joking when I call this guy or this chick, whichever it is. You think I'm joking when I call this thing Gozer the Gozerian. You'll see. Like, it walks out and starts literally, I'm not even joking. This thing like walks out of the gateway and immediately starts twirling its mustache at everybody. Like, it starts twirling its mustache at the entire room like it's fucking Dick Dastardly. Like it's fucking, like... like it's fucking Wacky Races. It just starts going on like it's... like it's talking to Dudley Do-Right. You know, like it's out of a Dudley Do-Right cartoon. This thing just walks out of this portal, starts twirling its mustache at everybody. So these are the heroes of the Milky Way. And like immediately, like a bunch of Klingons like jump up and go like we've had enough of your shit. And what happens next is this like the Iconian just sort of like idly gestures at them, and it lifts them off the ground like it's the fucking Didact from Halo, and like fucking vaporizes them while they're like held up in the air helpless. And then, and I shit you not, what literally happens after this is it twirls its mustache at everybody some more, and basically like points its finger at everybody and goes, all of you better stop getting along, and leaves. Are you shitting me? Are you fucking kidding? That was it? That was the Iconian threat? This Iconian just effortlessly murdered like 6 like fucking Dahar masters. They were helpless. It's in a room full of like the heroes of the Milky Way, as it calls them. So why didn't, if it's that easy for them to kill everybody, why didn't like fucking 12 Iconians bust out of the fucking gateway and murder everyone? You know? Just like float out, do their like floaty walk through like the fucking gateway, and fucking murder everybody in the room. They're the heroes of the Milky Way. Kill them all. Problem solved. Fucking Admiral Quinn and the Chancellor of the Klingon Empire are in this room. Datana's in this room. The captain of the Enterprise is in this room. The captains of all the flagships are in this room. Tuvok is in this room. Worf is in this room. Fucking kill them all if it's that easy. And it's that fucking easy. Because she does it. She just like fucking lifts Klingons in the air as if it were nothing and fucking vaporizes them. Like, she, like, snaps her fingers and they die. So why didn't 12 Iconians pour out of the fucking gateway and start murdering people? It would have made a better ending. Fucking running for your life from these guys. If you really wanted to end it on a cliffhanger, on a big plot twist, that would have been it. Just have, like, a bunch of Iconians just come flooding out of the gate and, like, interrupting this incredibly uplifting, happy moment where, like, both sides of this war have agreed to put their differences aside and coexist again. And have the Iconians just fucking start murdering people. You could have made them look intimidating. You could have made them look scary. You could have made them look evil. You could have made them look fucking hardcore. You could have left the player with this feeling of, how the fuck am I ever going to deal with that? How the fuck do we stop these guys? Instead, you took the Iconians and you turned them into dumbass mustache like impotent mustache twirling douchebags. Literally, they just show up to go and leave. I couldn't fucking believe it. Wow. Like, I was watching the entire cutscene going, what are you doing? What the hell are you doing? Why are you doing this? And why are you doing it this badly? Like, why did you have to do that? Why was that absolutely necessary? To just have the Iconians show up and, like, mustache stroke at the player and just leave? In a room full of the Milky Way's heroes, you killed the 6, like, inconsequential Klingons nobody knew, whose names nobody knew. Good job. Why would you do that? It blows my mind. Why would you emasculate your main villain like that? You've been building these guys up to be like the scariest shit in the universe. Demons of air and darkness. You don't earn that fucking name by, like, being all sunshine and rainbows like Picard was talking about. Fucking... these guys are called the fucking demons of air and darkness, and they're, like, stroking... and they're mustache stroking assholes. They're idiots. They're impotent. They're clown shoes. And the worst part of it is, I've been recording I recorded all of the Borg and Undine missions before the patch hit, because I wanted to cover those before half of them were just gone forever, and the other half were changed completely from what they were before. And while I was covering the Undine missions alone, I had Lord Ice for the Borg missions, and the Undine missions I was flying solo, and I was talking about this while I was recording. I was talking about this. And this is exactly what I said would happen. What has happened is exactly what I was talking about. Not like fucking 10 hours ago. Well, more than 10 hours ago, but not like fucking... It was like 12 hours ago. Thereabouts. I was recording at like 1, 2 in the morning, and I was talking about this. And this is exactly what I said would happen. Less than a day ago! Ugh! And I said what I what I specifically said was they're not gonna make the Undine scary. The Undine are gonna show up, and they're gonna go booty 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 booty. And when they finally show up, they're gonna be a joke inside of a day. Because they'll just die. They'll be trash mobs. They'll just die. They'll just be easily dealt with. Just like every other high level mob they introduce, eventually becomes, within a day or so, they're just trash mobs once people know how to deal with them. It happened with the Voth. It's happened with the Undine. It happened with the Borg first. It'll happen with the Iconians. There's no other way. That's the way. I couldn't believe it. I was amazed at at how they handled this. How they handled the introduction of the formal introduction of the Iconians. There's probably going to be a roundtable on season 9 at some point in the next couple weeks. I might bring this up. This might come up. It might. But I wanted to make this video and talk about it because holy shit, man. They fucked up they destroyed the Iconians. They made the Iconians look stupid in this. Stupid and weak. I don't use this term because I don't like using this phrase because it comes from a culture of macho bullshit that I'm glad to have escaped. But it makes the Iconians look like fucking limp-wristed. It's literally what it makes the Iconians look. It emasculates them. It would have been better if the Iconians had never shown up. And if they had shown up, they should have been fucking murdering people. They should have been turning that fucking Great Hall into a charnel house. Okay, they should have done something to leave an impression on you other than, don't you do it. They should have been making a beeline for you. You are the player character has been the single biggest wrench in the Iconians' plans. Regardless of which faction they are. If anything, the person they go after should have been you. Just fucking helpless against them. Yeah. I don't even know. It looks like there's plenty of cool stuff in Season 9. I'll be checking it out. New Undine Battle Zone. I'm looking forward to the torpedo and the phaser turret. That looks like it's going to be cool. Um, I'm going to be looking for some of the stuff from this lockbox is pretty interesting. I'm going to be looking for it on the exchange because I know it'll end up there. There's one specific thing I want. The ships in the lockbox suck. The mirror ships suck. The mirror ships in this lockbox are boring if you're a Federation character. There's some bio ships. They're all tactical ships. Or they're heavily tactically slanted ships. They'll end up like straight up fucking tactical ships. Like one of them has a lieutenant commander universal slot. Somebody will drop, like people will just drop a fucking tactical officer in there. Yeah. Not terribly interesting at all. There's a mirror Mo guy. If you're a Romulan character, okay, maybe. There's a mirror raptor. If you're a Klingon character, eh. It's another raptor. Um, the Federation ship is a mirror Rhode Island. I am uninterested. So yeah, that was surface tension. Awesome mission. Great story. Really stupid ending. There are some things that are really cool. Like, some things are really cool, and having an Iconian show up and, like, fucking murder things is cool. Like, have Iconians show up and just, like, fucking demonstrate how badass they supposedly are is cool. That doesn't mean you should do it. They shouldn't have done it. I'll see you guys later. So later.